Hello stitchy friends, it's Shari. Welcome back to my channel and another FLOSSTUBE video. So this is FLOSSTUBE 25? I don't know, I have to check. I don't remember, it's 25, 26. Anyway, happy Easter if you celebrate Easter. I think this is going to be a pretty quick video today. I don't have a lot to share because I've been gone for 2 weekends in a row. Last weekend I was in Cincinnati for a retreat with a bunch of my crafty friends. I did start a new project while I was there, so I'll share that with you today. And then the weekend before that, me and my husband went to Chattanooga for the weekend for our anniversary, and no stitching was done. I took a project, but we took kind of, I wouldn't say the back way to Chattanooga from Asheville, but we took the more mountainy way. So it wasn't the interstate, so I did not attempt to stitch in the car because it was curvier roads and it was bumpy, and that just wasn't going to happen. And then we don't usually kind of sit around. When we go somewhere, we like to explore, we like to go do things. So there was no day where there was downtime. We went to Chickamauga, to the Civil War battlefield. We went to Rock City, which was really fun. We have been to Chattanooga, but we were both very small, so it's been a long time. We went to the aquarium, which there's a whole other building now that wasn't there when I went when I was younger. We went to the train museum, and the name of it exactly is escaping me at the moment, but we rode the train. It was like a 30-minute ride down to down Missionary Ridge, and they showed you how they turned the engine around on the big turntable. That was really cool. I was trying to think if we did anything else, but needless to say, there was no downtime for any stitching on that trip either. So I don't have too much to share. The big thing I finished, of course, is the Call Me Crafty Stitch Along stitch from Hands On Design. So I'm going to share that. And I'm also going to pick the winners of the 3 charts that Kathy sent me to share. So we'll go ahead and I will flip to my desktop and we'll get started showing you all the things. All right, first I'm going to start with haul, and one of my new starts is a haul chart, but I ordered it from Lindy Stitches during the the Nash Startathon, Startathon. Anyway, that was like 3 weeks ago, right? And I was peer pressured into an animal cracker from Stacy Nash. This one is my favorite of all of them. I don't know that I'll stitch more. We'll see, but I really like this little mouse, and it's the smallest, so I think it will be fun to stitch. I got this, and I got the other chart, which I'll show you in just a little bit. I also got an order from Cedar River Linen, and I got 2 colors to check out. This is a coffee stain, which is really pretty coffee colored, and this one is maple bar. Both of these are in 36. I had a hard time deciding which colors I wanted, so I am pretty sure that I'll be picking up some more in the near future, but I picked these up to add to my stash. The other thing that I got since we spoke last is the Clipster finishing board from Chantel. Now, she sent me these to finish my project on, but she also sent one to give away. So I thought I would share with you. I opened one up. I thought I would just show you the pieces. So you get the board, right, with the top here. You get these little pieces, and I haven't put mine together yet because I am going to spray paint mine before I put it together. These will go in here. I'm not going to push them in just yet because I like to glue them in. They are very snug, as they should be, and there's instructions that tell you all this. It does say they should fit snugly. But once they're all the way down in there, then this piece attaches here like this. And when they're all the way down in there, there's not a gap. It will be flat on the bottom. Let's see if I can zoom my thing out a little bit. There we go. Unfortunately, you're going to see my light, but we'll put a piece of paper there. So yeah, so this is the Clipster. I have one of these, so stay tuned to the end. And I have one to give away today. And I need to finish my stitch. I've already cut my mat board to lace my project on. So, and it's on white. So this is kind of give you an idea of what I'm intending to do here. And then this is just a piece of typing paper, and I was trying to figure out, you know, about how much I wanted to see around it. Now that I have this here, I might change the size of it because I probably want it to hit the top of the clip like it's clipped and not, you know, float out here. And I don't know, maybe it doesn't have to hit the clip. Anyway, I have to figure that out. But this white piece of typing paper, my intention is for it to be some pattern paper. And I know I snuck a picture of it in one of my pictures with my finishes, and I'm thinking it might be this. So if you can kind of imagine what it might look like on the clip. I have a couple different pieces here because I'm also thinking it would be nice to maybe do them all a little different because there are going to be 3 charts. So we'll see. I have that to figure out, but I thought I would just show you what the Clipster looks like when it's unwrapped so that you have an idea if you want to finish something with that as well. So that's all my haul. So let's look at new starts, which I think everything I have to share with you today is a new start. So let's start with the one that was also a haul chart, which is Mother Is by Primrose Cottage. I thought that this would be pretty to stitch for my mom. And this is what I started this past weekend on my retreat. This is, I thought there was a label on it, but I could be wrong. Nope, no label on it. Oh, I think the label's on the bag. Hold on. I'm pretty sure it's 36 because I'm stitching with 1 strand. And here are my colors. Yes, 36 count fawn by Picture This Plus. So here is my start. I kind of started in the center. It was hard for me to stitch at the retreat because I wasn't in my comfortable spot. So I didn't get a lot done, but I have worked on it since I got home. And I believe these are pretty much all the called for colors. I didn't have the green, so I substituted a color in cotton that I thought worked. But cocoa bean, cherry cobbler. Oh, I did pull a white for instead of toasted marshmallow. Tennessee red clay and honeycomb. So it's pretty much all the same colors as what's called for. The fabric is different. It calls for mushroom. And I am stitching on fawn. All right, another new start that I talked about last time that I wanted to start is He Is Risen by Sweet Wing Studio. And I did get a tiny start. So I haven't gotten very far, but that's okay. This is a quick stitch, and I will probably just keep working on it until it's done. It won't take very long to finish, but I didn't get it finished in time for Easter, but I'm okay with that. This I am stitching on 40 count paper bark by Fox and Rabbit, and just colors that I picked. I don't think any of these are the called for DMCs, but I can list my colors out in the description below if you're interested. So I have a couple of these Bent Creek samplers. I like that they're kind of small. I'm actually stitching mine on a 36 count blacks. And I have like 4 or 5, so I figured I'd start with the one that's kind of springy, summery. And I just pulled my own colors. I don't think any of these are the called for colors at all. So what whatever color this purple is, it's just using these specialty stitches, which you can see I have started some of those. Actually, I'm pretty far along. I'll just have this one to do. But I just pulled my own colors. So this is what I'm using for the specialty stitches. I believe the orange, I don't know where the orange is. It might just be the beak of the bird. Obviously, actually, I think the yellow is the beak of the bird. And the blue is the bird. I have Yukon Gold. I have Deep Sea. And then the chart calls for the leaves and the branches to be the same color, and I do not remember what it is. My actual chart's in the other room, but what I am going to do is I'm going to use Havana for the branches, and I am going to use Cadet, this green color, for the leaves. I'm using Blackboard for my letters, which you can see I've almost stitched them all already. And then the white is just accent on the bird. And honestly, I don't know why the orange is in here. I think I might have just brought the orange in to do instead of the yellow, and it's probably just still in here because I like to have options when I can't really decide straight out the gate. So those are my colors for the Bent Creek Classics Plumberry Sampler. I do have the little buttons as well. I don't know that they're in here. They are not. But I thought this would be a quick little stitch. It's kind of chaos right now because I have not taken it out of the hoop. You can see I have my purple in there because I'm in the middle of those specialty stitches. I will say one thing that I did on this. I started stitching the letters, and if you really look at the chart, they are all lined up with like the left side of the lines, kind of. So when you have a short one like the R, it feels like it should be centered, and I actually pulled those lines out and shifted my letters over to where everything is centered, and I still might do it with this line. I hadn't addressed that line yet because that J is hanging out 2 squares past the end of this, and the N is 1 square in, and that kind of makes the margins like that kind of make me crazy. But and then of course down here it will be different, but that's just a change I made as I was stitching, and I saw where things were lining up, and it was bothering me. That's a personal that's a personal problem that I have. Anyway, so there's that one. I actually forgotten I'd started that one until I went looking at my projects to see what I had to show you. And then the other thing I started, which I won't be able to attend the Spring Mingle probably because I will be in Detroit that weekend for my classes that I talked about last time, which I'll talk about at the end. But I love this little project. I really love it on the black. So I started it. It's a tiny little start, the tiniest of tiny starts here. This is one of the pieces on the bottom. It looks like a giant plus sign when you stitch it. And the center is what you're seeing here on the top of the pincushion. But I also have my charcoal in here to stitch, and part of me kind of wants to do that first. We'll see. I was on the struggle bus when I first started this, and you know how sometimes you stitch and some days you're just off. Like things just feel off. Like you feel like all your stitches look terrible. I was having one of those days. I stitched all the white around that one, and I hated it, and I pulled it out. So I'll get back to it, and we'll see. Now this is not what's called for. I don't know what's called for, but this fabric I'm using is something I had in my stash, which is Color and Cotton 32 count. Vanilla is the color, but it's pretty close to the picture, so I decided to use what I had and shop my stash. So there are all of my new starts that are also whips. So now we can talk about the Call Me Crafty Stitch Along, which I talked about before. I changed colors, I added colors. So here's kind of my rainbow palette. I need to put those 2 blues on bobbins. I wasn't sure if I was going to use them, but I ended up using them. So I have 6 different colors of my quilt blocks. So let me put these beside each other so you can kind of see. In a previous video, I talked about how I changed the red of the Crafty just to a different shade, more pinky red. And this one was more orangey red when you pulled that color. I kept a lot of them kind of the same, but then I changed it up with the quilt blocks and did a rainbow. So I needed 6 colors, so that's why I pulled the blues back in for the color on the sewing machine. These 2 blues are the called for colors for the quilt blocks. So I did 1 in the called for colors, and then I changed all the rest of them up to the rainbow of colors, which I will list out in the description so you know. The pinks are the same ones used up here. The teals are the same ones used up here. So the only ones pulled in are the oranges, the greens, and the purples. So let me pull these things out of the way. I'm going to fold this in a little bit, maybe, so that we can kind of see what it looks like with this pattern paper. So I think, I mean, if you're not into the rainbow look, that's fine. I just have a lot of this in my craft room. But if your craft room is different colors and you want to customize this, maybe find a piece of fabric that you want to be the frame around it, and then just change some colors to match your fabric. I think that this particular pattern has great potential to change it up and change the colors, even change, you know, the fabric if you want. If the bright white isn't your thing, this would look really beautiful on like a vintage country mocha or something that's a little more antique-y too. I really think that there's a lot of different looks you could get with the same chart. So that is Call Me Crafty by Hands On Design. And I know I'm done, but the next chart doesn't come out until probably will be available early June. So there's plenty of time to join us and stitch Call Me Crafty. And I hope that you will, because it's been fun to see those stitching along. Giveaways. So the Call Me Crafty chart, donated by Kathy at Hands On Design. I have 3, and she also sent me later some needle minders, so I put those in all these charts too. So you all get a chart and a needle minder. And my winners are Donna Gibson, 3913. I'll put that over here. I also have Tina Sauls, 978, and Maureen S, 2802. So I'll put all of those over here, and if all of you could please email me at the email listed below, and then I will get these out to you so you can join us for the Call Me Crafty Craft Room SAL. Today's giveaway is the Clipster from Chantel. So Chantel sent this to me to give away to one of you for finishing your projects. Whether you finish Call Me Crafty or you want to finish something else on this, I think this is a fun and unique kind of finish. When I do finish mine, actually, I'll share that here in a minute. When I do finish mine, I will share the finished look. I know I talked about the paper, but I actually brought my paint in here to share and I forgot. So anyway, please be 18, please live in the United States, and please use the word Clipster somewhere in your comment to be considered for this prize. And I will pick a winner. Today is the 20th. So please leave your comment by May 3rd, and I will pick a winner for the Clipster finishing board from Chantel's 141 Design Company. So let me go back to the paint. Since my finish is so very colorful, I wanted a neutral background, and my favorite neutral is a gray. I like grays more than browns. My furniture in my room is gray. I just like the grays. I like warm grays too. And this is one of my favorite colors. I had to go buy a new can. Color Shot. They carry this at Michael's now, which they didn't used to. And this one, I love the name of it, is called Let's Get Cozy. And this is a really pretty gray. It looks exactly like the label. It's a satin finish. And then I also bought this one called Heads or Tails. And this is a shiny metallic silver. And I want to paint the top piece. Hold on. This piece. I want to paint this piece in the shiny metallic silver and the board in the gray. So that is my plan. And then I'll have the paper on top of that. The last thing I want to mention again is my classes. And I'm going to be at Scrappy Chic in Detroit. These are stitching projects, but also card projects. So if you're a card maker and you want to, dabble in stitching, this is a great opportunity. If you're a stitcher and you're interested to see how you could finish a small stitch piece into a card, it's a great opportunity for you too. It doesn't matter if you're a seasoned pro at stitching or a beginner. I would be happy for you to join me regardless. And we'll have some fun. So the information about classes are down in the description. May 3rd and 4th. It's a Saturday and a Sunday. There are 2 classes, Smitten in the Sun and Seed-sational Smiles. And I did create special patterns for both classes. And both classes are offered each day. So if you wanted to do both, you could do both on Saturday. You could do both on Sunday. Or their time slots are swapped too. So if you're like, I want to do both, but I can only do mornings, both are offered in a morning session and both are offered in the afternoon session. So the information about that, there's a link below. And I think that's all I have to share today. I said it was going to be quick, but I don't really know how quick this video was. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you for spending a little bit of your time with me today. And I really appreciate it as always. And happy stitching. Bye.